David Campbell Lester, our guest, he wrote a book, a self-published book called I Love Money, Enhance Your Relationship with Money to Live Your Ultimate Life. And you self-published because?
Because of the money. So again, I talked to a bunch of publishers, and just the way that it's structured, there's not much money in publishing anymore for the author.
It's a tough game right now.
So it's like, I'd rather just go get a boat, right, than spend that money. So what I did is I followed some of our best Canadian authors, financial authors, like Derek Foster, and then David Chilton, who just came out with
Wealthy Barber.
And now the Wealthy Barber Returns. And I just emulated what they did. So I have the same printer as they, and I got an editor, and I just basically saw something that was working, like why create the wheel, and I followed their model.
Okay, so every time you sell one of these, you get a much bigger percentage that goes directly to you or your company.
That's correct, yeah.
University, did you have a university loan? What did you do? How did you get through?
So when I went to Western in Ontario, in London, Ontario, and when I was there, I remember sitting in class and thinking, there must be something, like I feel like I'm just wasting 4 years here. And you know, I liked school, but I felt like there was a lot of downtime. So I actually went to downtown London, and I got a job at the London Merrill Lynch office, and I worked 35 hours a week. So basically, I'd wake in the morning, and I either went to class or I went to Merrill Lynch to work. And when I was there, I was able to I made money because I was working part-time while I was at university. And more importantly, and to write the book, I understood that the difference between our really large clients and all our other clients. And to me, that was their relationship with money. So our super wealthy clients that worked at Merrill, they had this amazing relationship with money, and they saw that it gave them freedom, or it gave them a sense of power, or it gave them whatever it was, respect or leadership or freedom.
Right.
And they were involved. So every time we were going to make a decision, they would call us, or they were telling us what to do with the money. And anytime we charged them $60 for an RSP or something, they would call us in a second to make sure that we took it off their bill.
Okay, what was that fee? And fees are important to look at, whether you're buying insurance, whatever you're buying. If you're using a broker or something, they'll charge you a fee. It makes sense.
That's right.
So if your eyes glaze over when you even think about buying a stock,
it's
what
true.
should you do?
Well, that's the thing. Be involved in even the little fees. So if you look at the smaller accounts when I was working there, these fees would go through and no one would ever call. But our largest accounts with like millions and millions of dollars, once a fee went through, in a second they'd call and be like, what's going on with this fee?
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
So when somebody at the high end loses money, are they fluffed about it, or do they know that it's a cycle, and maybe their RSP dumped 10 grand, but it will come back 10 grand, and it goes up and down?
That's it. They're the ones so our best clients and our largest clients, they were the ones with this great relationship with money, and they treated it like a relationship, and it was the inspiration for the book. And they knew that there was ups and there were downs, and when there were downs, you'd look at all the smaller accounts, and everyone was freaking out and selling out, and the large accounts were doubling up and buying more and setting their accounts up. And my investing strategy is what I learned from our largest accounts, where it's yield based on dividends.
Right.
And what happens is, like, your portfolio, when the market goes down, the yield, you set it up on a drip program, and you can do this with anything that pays a dividend or a yield. And as the market value goes down, the dividends automatically buy you cheaper units.
Okay, so you take advantage of the mess.
That's right.
I say to my broker, take advantage of the mess.
That's right.
And I don't really know what she's doing every minute,
Yeah.
but I know the result.
That's right.
So based on the result, this is working, and if you're getting 12% back or something hot, who cares?
It's right, and that's exactly right. And just like a relationship, you have to put a little bit more time and respect, and there has to be trust there when times are bad. And when times are good, those stocks and shares that you bought at the low of great companies, like our great Canadian companies that pay dividends, they've been around for a long time. We know they're going to be around for another long time because we need their services. They are the first ones to rally back.
And if you make a big mistake, which we all have, you learn from it. Good idea. What about leasing cars? That was interesting to me. You say, don't lease. If you're smart, don't lease.
That's right.
Why?
So again, crunching the numbers, because now we all respect and love our money. So we're going to look at both scenarios, and we're going to calculate how much interest and how much it actually costs us over the long time. So if you actually lease a car, you're paying interest on the entire car, even though you don't own any of it, but you're only using half of it. And then at the end of your lease term, you've paid interest as if you've bought the car on the entire amount, even though you have to give it back at the end of the lease. And if there's ever any dings, or if you've gone over the kilometers, you actually pay more insurance car insurance when you lease a car. All of those things get added on. So my scenario is you buy a car that's a couple years old, you miss the big hit in depreciation, and then you finance it. And when you finance it, you own the car. If there's any dings or your dings, insurance is cheaper because you own it.
But if you buy a brand new car, you don't buy anything that goes down in value. You're not supposed to, but you know, you drive off the lot, it goes down in value.
That's right.
The advantage of leasing is you rent it.
That's right. But you are still paying interest on the full amount. So if you look at a brand new car that you need to lease, you look at the amount that you're actually leasing, and then just finance a car for that amount and get it a couple years old.
Well, I have a girlfriend who's like you, and that's exactly what she does. She buys a luxury car that's being lady-driven for 3 years. It's off lease, and she pays cash for it, or she finances it at the bank, and then she owns it.
Yes. And if you have your own company, you can write it off, and there's all those pluses to it as well.
Exactly.
And luxury cars do depreciate more slowly. So at the end, when you've paid off the loan, you still have an asset.
And you may love it more than you like the other car, the not so luxurious car.
For sure, exactly.
And that runs through this a little bit. Buy what you love. And if you love lattes, then buy lattes. But think about what it costs.
That's right. And also, the money that we can save on all the other areas of our life that don't really excite us, that we just do because of whatever reason, you know, because we feel we have to, or we shop because we're bored, or, you know, we just have to put that money out. If you can save it in all those extra areas and gather it all up, you can get an extra special whatever it is when you're buying, or have an extra. It doesn't even have to be a tangible thing. It can be experiences.
Sure.
Right? Like travel. I love to travel, and my family is super important to me. So 3 years ago, I remember my mom was all stressed out for Christmas, like she always is. And I said, if there's anywhere in the world we could go right now, where would you go? And she's like, I want to see the pyramids, just kind of off the cuff. And so we all went. So the family got up, we got tickets, and we flew there, and we spent Christmas in Egypt, which is a great experience for all of us.
Rather than buying the Prada shoes and going out for dinner 3 nights a week, you put that money into the Egypt fund, and it worked. It makes sense. We're just not so good at it. But there are behaviors that limit wealth.
There are behaviors that limit wealth, and you can change your belief systems. And that's where I started at. Before I wrote the book, I came to Vancouver and I trained as a life coach here as well. So I've used life coaching strategies in the book to change our belief system. So if we think that we'll always be, you know, poor, money's hard, it's like only for the rich, it's complicated, I don't want to deal with it, we can actually go through steps to change those and understand that it's not complicated, it takes a little bit of effort, and when I understand it and when I harness it, it's going to make my life really great.
You don't have to be a genius. We know a lot of people who are not geniuses who have made huge money.
Exactly.
So there's risk, how you evaluate risk, when to take a risk, when not to take a risk.
All those things, yeah. Ooh. And if you're starting from scratch, then for sure, we have great Canadian authors, right? So like Derek Foster. And David Chilton, we were just talking about, start reading his books, and they're actually entertaining.
Sure. Chilton said to me when he first wrote The Wealthy Barber, A, he self-published, B, he suggested that you save 10% of what you earn, no matter what you earn. If you earn $10 a week, save 10%, and you eventually will get there.
That's right. And then the way to do that is so if we say we're putting money into our RSP, say that works right with the individual, the money that comes back from the tax return at the end of the year, make sure that that's spent on something special. So like a family trip or whatever it is that really gets you excited.
Or yoga class twice a week.
For sure.
Whatever it is, you really have to figure out what you want.
That's right.
What makes you happy, and then you have to cut back on what doesn't make you happy.
That's right. And then that extra, knowing that you're going to have an amazing trip when your RSP the tax return comes back, or the money that you've saved is coming back, that will be the motivation for you to stay on track.
Sure. And you also say sell everything before you throw it out. Isn't that what you said? Like, now you're cleaning out your closet or your house. Yeah,
it's amazing. If you put anything on Craigslist, people will buy it. So before you just toss something, if you look at it, put it on Craigslist. It takes 2 seconds with your camera phone. You're like, snap, put it on Craigslist, and guaranteed. If it's $10, it's $10. There's the latte, the fancy latte that we love so much.
You see? And somebody just may want it.
For
Those
sure.
old Prada shoes. Okay, I heart money. I love money. Book signing, you're signing tomorrow?
I will be there at 1 o'clock at the Granville and Broadway
At
chapters. That's right.
Great. Nice to meet you.
So nice. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I Love Money. Enhance your relationship with money to live your ultimate life. David Campbell Lester.